Hi, my name is Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to be channeling my political spirit guides' answers to your questions. So tune in. There's some really shocking answers that I was surprised to get because I am channeling this. I never know what they're going to say. So let's get right to it, shall we? I'm here to answer your questions using my spirit guides who are on call and are specializing in this type of energy. So let's get started. The first question is from Pink Sprinkle. Pink Sprinkle says, what will the biggest political surprise of the next 12 months be? So what I did was I looked at today's date, which happens to be April 24th, 2023. And I told my guides, let's use the parameter of April 24th, 2024. Now, the first thing that happened was they said, how can you pick out one beautiful firework out of an entire display of fireworks? And they're showing me the 4th of July, Independence Day, right, in the United States, where we have these beautiful firework displays, well, until drones take them over. And they're saying, how do you just pick one? So what I did, and I have to do this sometimes, is I literally just, before I started this video, I channeled some responses for you, Pink Sprinkle. Number one thing that was surprising for me personally was Madison Cawthorn. Do you guys remember him? He was the House member, the House representative who was removed, who got ran out of the House because he talked about coke-fueled orgies, and he himself was videoed, or actually there were photographs of him wearing a kind of bodice kind of thing, and perhaps maybe dressed sort of like a woman, or anyway, in a way that wouldn't seem to match the Republican Party's idea of what a man should be these days. So what's interesting is Madison Cawthorn figures into this. He will become a witness or a key or a star player in the downfall of some of these Republicans, okay? So he's actually coming back, and he's batting for the other team. So that was a surprise to me. First of all. Second of all, I saw SCOTUS. I saw Thomas, Justice Thomas. His energy, I went in his energy last night, and honestly, this guy, his heart is no way, no. His heart is no good. He's got immense amount of pressure on him, and that is causing him to have potentially some health issues related to that kind of stress. I do believe by the end of this year, he will have some sort of health event that could have him convalescing at home over the holidays, is what they told me. Now, what this is going to do for him is he's going to get a real wide-eyed opportunity to look and see about what is important in his life. Is it important to perhaps preserve his health, live quite a bit longer, and step down from the court? Or is it more important for him to live whatever life he's got left and stay on the court? I believe he's going to step down. I think this is how we get there. This is how he steps down. Now, he may not step down until spring, but I will also say competing energy right now, because I've talked about this a lot. The spirit guides have talked about this a lot. Harlan Crow, who is just one of Justice Thomas's benefactors, doesn't like this, the light being shined on him. He doesn't want his inner workings, how he works with all of these politicians, including Ted Cruz and many others. He doesn't want this known. It doesn't benefit him. These are dark money people. They need to stay in the dark, right? So when you have someone who's creating problems for you that is very much in the public eye, then your doings are now in the public eye. Now, there is incredible pressure from Harlan Crow and others to convince Thomas to step down. I'm saying this because honestly, free will reigns here. Thomas gets to make that decision. Okay. But I feel like he could have already had some sort of, angina or some kind of energy in his chest. And that, again, you hear Harlan Crow going, look, buddy, come on, take care of yourself. Don't do this. We need you, right? All this malarkey to try to get him to step down. So all that to say, he might step down earlier than that, but I definitely see Thomas going. Also, the other thing they showed me last night when I was taking a peek into this energy was Thomas is, I don't know how to describe it other than if you've ever played pool and you hit the cue ball and the cue ball hits the ball that you want to hit, but that ball has this unintended consequence, perhaps, of putting your same team, your own balls in the pocket, right? So your ball, the ball you hit, the opposite team, so to speak, didn't go in the pocket, but yours did. Oops. This is what I see Thomas. Thomas is going to bring down two other justices. And it's because the light is shining on everyone right now, you guys. I can put you guys at ease with all these questions just by telling you that we have now entered the energy of the light, the reckoning. I did a whole video called The Reckoning. It's in the title of the video. And this is the reckoning. The light is getting its due. The dark has had its time. The light is now going to shine. Okay. So through these kind of weird and bizarre happenstance things, you're going to see this happen. And they're showing me the two the two Justins in Tennessee. Through this odd happenstance, this very small state capital of Tennessee has thrust these two bright, talented, leadership quality young men into the spotlight. This is what I'm saying. The light is shining. And if you match the light, you're going to be broadcast. You're going to be kind of boosted, right? Those in the light are going to be boosted. Those that match the light. Those that are in the light that don't match the light are going to get exposed. So the exposure is the same. It's just whether or not you're exposed for good deeds or bad deeds. But the light is here. So it's interesting to me that Thomas is going to be he's going to be the impetus, the energy that's going to knock these two other SCOTUSes out. And those two SCOTUSes are Kavanaugh and Alito. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Okay. So the other thing is I saw McConnell. McConnell has slithered back into the Senate. I see him going. I don't see him lasting. I see him going by the end of this year. So that's interesting. Yes, I wrote down Alito removal. I also see major gun control passing the Congress and the Senate. Now, I don't know that this means banning assault rifles, but they could, they really could put the kibosh on this where they require insurance, that they require, there's also something going on with ammunition. The Second Amendment doesn't cover ammunition. I mean, if you want to play this game that these people like Barr and Bannon are playing with our Constitution, where they nitpick it apart with tweezers and they try to reconfigure the parts that they want into some kind of sentence that makes no sense, but this is what they do, then fine, we'll do the same thing. We'll pick apart the Second Amendment and we'll say doesn't cover musket balls, right? It didn't cover the ammunition. Therefore, we can really get behind really taxing the ammunition, and also tracking the ammunition. So I think that we're going to get, and I mean the Democrats are going to get real smart about really putting pressure on gun sales. And I see this through like David Hogg, who survived, I think it was Parkland. He has his own not-for-profit organization. I just see this through the Gen Z, through the kids that have experienced the brunt of this problem. They're the ones who are going to bring the fresh thinking, the fresh minds, they're going to start pouring over the Constitution, and they're going to start, really giving these people a run for their money and an argument for their money. The other thing that I see is they're talking about DeSantis being diminished. I had to write all this down because I couldn't keep track of it. They're talking about Governor DeSantis being diminished. His power is diminished. I do not see him being on the presidential ticket. I see him having a fall from grace. And you know what? They've said that before, now that I'm saying that. So I see DeSantis having sort of a spectacular fall from grace. Again, I feel like this might be later in the year where you're going to see actually the press and different publications almost mocking him for his taking on the mouse and the mouse won. You're just going to see this tide turning of journalists actually being more independent and saying what we all have been saying all along, but the journalists just don't seem to want to go there. Again, the light. If you match the light, you get a boost. If you don't match the light, you get exposed. This is really what's happening right now. And look for it. Look for it in the news. Look for those odd things that happen that you think, wow, how did that happen? I want you to really pay attention to that, because all we're paying attention to are these big stories, these big people, and they're not going anywhere, right? Trump isn't going anywhere. DeSantis isn't going anywhere. Matt Gaetz, all these people, MTG, they're not going anywhere. Well, that's because we're in the investigative mode right now. I'm telling you guys, we have the system that we have is supposedly supposed to give everybody their day in court, supposed to give them time to prepare their own defense. We are doing the right thing. We haven't become a banana republic just yet. These people are going to pay a price. Start watching for the good that's happening, and you will see it. It's there. It really is happening. Okay. And the other thing that I saw was 3 House members on trial. So this is, again, your question was in the next 12 months. I feel like this happens. It's just like the guide said in that video that I did, that the charges start popping for these people around the fall. So the MTGs, the Lauren Boeberts, the Matt Gaetz, the Jim Jordan, all these people. But here's the thing that's shocking to me. 3 House members on trial for sedition. That was shocking to me, for sedition. Now, I would much rather, honestly, they be on trial for something that the United States, the DOJ, deals with every day, like, money laundering or pedophilia, or I'd rather them be on charge for meat and potatoes kind of things that we see it every day. The juries see it every day. There's settled law. We know it's a crime. We know what the punishment is. In, out, boom, done. Sedition is much harder to prove. It's something that we've never really dealt with much. But you know what? It's going to be a headline grabber, that's for sure. And I'm not saying that they're not being investigated for other things. But what the guides told me was 3 House members being on trial for sedition. Now, it could be even 4 or 5 or 6, but I feel really comfortable, safe saying 3. I can give you a few names. This is not set in stone. Who they are is not set in stone, because right now the DOJ is getting people to provide evidence and witness testimony, and those people are just the negotiations between those people is ongoing. Okay. So if they get this person to come on board to the DOJ and say, yes, I'm willing to be a witness, and I'm a good witness, I'm a witness that the jury can believe in, then yes, this person is going to, go for this charge. Right. But right now there's too many balls in the air. But I will say that it does right now look like Matt Gaetz. It looks like MTJ, in whatever her name is. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. It looks like Jim Jordan. It looks like there's also Meadows is involved. I know he's not in Congress, but he's involved. Eastman is involved. So they're just telling me all these people who are involved in this. Of course, Trump is involved. And they just said that Mike Pence might not get out of this unscathed. Now, I don't see him going to jail, but I think that he may be implicated and his reputation might be sullied. Okay. And again, I see Liz Cheney involved in this. I see her handing over. Okay, here's some more shocking information. Apparently she knew that the January 6th committee was a paper tiger. What was not the real deal. It had no teeth. So she kept some information that she has that is very damning. And I was just talking about Pence, so you can make the connection here. But I'm also seeing the Matt Gaetz. I'm seeing Boebert. Maybe somehow McCarthy. What's his name? I'm seeing his face. Lindsey Graham. Okay, she's got dirt. She's a Cheney, y'all. She's a Cheney. Y'all know. Y'all did my last video. She was sharpening her claws. Sharpening them claws, y'all. All right. So big news is that these people are going to be brought up on sedition. It's even bigger news to me that Liz Cheney is going to have a really important role in this. And y'all, I'm not a big fan of Liz Cheney. I don't care what she does. She's still not our friend. She may be an American. She may be a patriot in a sense. Absolutely. But you have to understand everything you see from here on forward. You have to look at it from 5 different angles. Please don't just take don't take what I say. Don't take it to the bank. Put it in your ledger. Susan and the guides said this. Add another psychic, add another thing, add your own opinion. Come up with your own opinion about all of this. Please don't just fall in for anybody. If it resonates with you, take it on to the degree. And even then, sort it out a little bit more because this is where we are. Last thing, I'm sorry this has taken so long for this first question, but I didn't realize all this was going to be going down. I mean, I kind of did, but the last thing that was also shocking was I asked them, where's Trump? Where is Trump? And because he wasn't mentioned in any of this. Like I'm seeing Lindsey Graham. I'm seeing, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm seeing Meadows and Eastman, people I don't even think about. I haven't thought about Eastman in a long time. But yet I'm not seeing Trump. So I sat and I said, well, where is he? So I looked energetically, sort of like remote viewing. I looked at Mar-a-Lago, and y'all, it's kind of like the guides just said the party's over, right? I mean, there's, we often see these pictures, right, every weekend of weddings happening or people in the club and, whatever, right? It's empty. He's not there, you guys, and it's covered up. And it's not only is it covered up, but it's kind of abandoned energy. Like there's not even really a lot of staff there. So I want to explain this better. It's not like everything is covered and all you have to do is take the covers off and turn the lights on and do a little cleaning. That's not the energy. The energy is mothballs. The energy is abandoned. The energy is he can't afford to pay his landscaper and there's weeds growing up through the cracks around the pool. That's the energy. So where is Trump, right? Where is he? So when I go into that energy, it's like he's gone. He's missing. He's okay. I'm going to just go into that energy for a minute. He's under attack. He's hiding out. He has support from somebody. He's not, I don't think that he's in, locked down. I don't think that he's locked up. He has support from somebody. But the person who's supporting him, it looks like a foreign country to me. But the person who's supporting him is also doesn't have much support. So it's not like China. It's not like even Saudi Arabia. It doesn't feel like it feels a little bit like Russia, but not really. It feels like somebody, not Putin, but somebody in Russia. So that could also mean that Putin is in trouble. He's hiding out. Did I say that? He's hiding out. He's trying. It's the opposite. He's not, he's not talking and truthing and all this other stuff. He's really, really hiding out. I think he might be a little bit concerned for his safety. Is his Secret Service detail with him? I honestly want to say no, but I don't know how that can be possible. Unless they took his Secret Service detail from him. Abdicated or absconded? Abdicated. That's interesting. I don't know, guys. We're gonna have to leave that as a cliffhanger because I've already taken probably 15 minutes on the first question. But that was fascinating if you ask me. I think it's a cliffhanger. I'm not sure what's happening. And like I said, there's still play. There's still witnesses coming. There's still evidence being collected. People are still flipping. And then there's Liz Cheney with her damning evidence that she feels like could be a game changer. Okay, so that was very interesting. Thank you, Pink Sprinkle. Ruthie H says, do I see term limits placed on SCOTUS in the next couple of years? I don't see term limits, but what I do see is a raft. I don't know what word they're using. A lot of rules. So they will have very stringent rules. There will be an oversight committee over the SCOTUS that will have more teeth, that will be investigating them. They will also have a financial, how they yeah, right. So they appointed this financial investigator that's now involved in the Trump org. The court did, because we can't be certain that they're not hiding things. So they actually put their own investigator who gets to get in there and mind the books. So that's what's going to happen with SCOTUS. You're going to have sort of like they just said the words, like a special counsel or something that's going to investigate them. And they're going to go through their taxes, and it's not going to be pretty, y'all. It's not going to be pretty, because even I think some of the Dems, everybody went in Rome, you know what I mean? So everybody's doing something that's a little bit unethical. Now, I believe that some of the other ones, I wanted to say Republican ones, and I almost said the Russian ones. I swear it almost came out of my mouth. Are doing a lot of other things that could be illegal and definitely unethical. So I see that. I just see much more, many more constraints and much more visibility about what SCOTUS is doing. And I feel like they're going to put together this group of judges, and the group of judges that are going to oversee SCOTUS, this is not going to go over well. This is another reason why Thomas will probably step down. Another reason why he might consider stepping down more seriously is this group of judges are not, they might be federal judges, right? They're not SCOTUS, and those judges do have term limits. So I feel like they serve 3 years. So you're not going to get this embattled group of judges. You're going to have fresh judges coming and going. They said, I tried to say 4 years to them for the presidential election, but they said no, 3 years. So I think that's really going to help us clean out SCOTUS. I do think that we will add more seats to SCOTUS because we have too many cases for the number of judges that we have. We have too many districts for the number of judges that we have, and that leads to this whole shadow docket. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we are going to do it. Now, I think maybe if we go out to maybe 5 years from now to 8 years from now, yes, we're going to have term limits on SCOTUS. I think it might be 12 years that the term limit is. But it could be 8 years. I mean, a lot is going to change between now and then. I mean, everything is going to change between now and then. It's our landscape in 8 years is going to look like a completely different country. And I mean that in a good way, not in a bad way. You know, in 8 years, we're going to have much more parity, much more equality, we're really going to have stared down the monster and chosen light over dark. Thank you, Ruthie. Malka Z says, our question involves the NRA. Will we ever be able to control the grip that the NRA has on our country? How can we get rid of their power? Well, what's going to happen, I'm seeing, is the courts are going to get involved in NRA. They're going to start poking around, rooting around in their status. I don't know if they're a nonprofit or if they enjoy some kind of tax status that might be beneficial, but they're going to lose whatever governmental status they have that might prove beneficial for them. They're going, basically what I see is it's going to be a shadow of its former self. It's going to lose its popularity. That might take a total of 5 years, but even so, now to next year, the NRA is going to fight back. They've got a lot of money. They got a lot of power. They got a lot of people. They got cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs people. They're going to fight back. It's going to get ugly, but they're going to lose because there's more people, truly. There's more parents. There's more people that care about their kids being safe. There's more people who care about humans, who care about humans over guns. And that's going to be the end of them. We are going into a time of more peace and more prosperity. But before we get there, we're going to have some trouble. We're going to have, and not good trouble, we're going to have the troubles. We're going to have a lot of infighting and power grabbing and struggling as the light, when you flip that light on in the basement and all them roaches start running around, that's what we're about to see. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be scary. But, you can either go down there and start taking care of them and stomping on them, or you can turn the light off and pretend like you never saw that. Well, this is where we've been. We're no longer going to turn the light off. As a matter of fact, when we go to hit that switch, the darn thing won't go off. So the light is here to stay, folks. We have to deal with this. We have to step up, and we have to deal with all of these demons that we have been turning the light off and refusing to see. Now we really have to deal with it. So we have a little year or two where we're going to be taking care of the business, and then things are going to get a lot better, because we're going to win. The light wins. The light always wins. Okay. Thank you for your question. June Brewer says, will John Roberts step down from the Supreme Court? She saw this herself happening, but it was 6 months ago. This is what I'm saying about timing and free will. I can see it. I mean, I can see Thomas having a real MI, a big MI, and him going, no, not going to stop me. I mean, look at McConnell. Look at McConnell, right? They just crawl back from the brink of death. They don't care. So John Roberts, I really do see him stepping down, but it's hard for me to get an idea of how all this is going to work, because I just see like Thomas, and then I see Alito, and then I see Kavanaugh, and then I see Roberts. I mean, my human brain cannot wrap around that. But I think, yes, they're showing me, if you've ever, and especially if you're an older person, in the old carnivals or fairs, they had those metal little ducks that would go around in a circle, and you would have a gun and you would like shoot the ducks and they would go ting and then go down, ting and then go down, right? This is what I see. It's like ting down, ting down, ting down. I mean, I just did that in the beginning of this video. Shocking. We have shocking things coming. I know nothing is happening right now. And you can just believe that nothing's going to happen. That's fine. I can't, this is just what I'm seeing, right? So I do think he's going to step down. He might not step down for another year. I mean, he could be lucky. The energy suggests that he could slip between the energy and live through, not that he's going to die, but he could rule. He could have his justice preserved into the beginning and middle of next year. He could be like, one of the last ones standing that went through this. I wish I could be more specific, but the energy, it's just too up in the air. There's too many people coming and going. There's so many investigations happening right now. There's so much happening that you guys don't know about beneath the surface. It doesn't necessarily show up on our radar, but the energy suggests that it's really happening beneath the surface. There's real activity. There's real energy. People are searching. People are going to take these people to account. They're going to hold them to account. They are not above justice. They are not above the law. That is the energy. That is the light. Okay, Daniel B says, with this constant drip, drip, drip info coming out of Justice Thomas, will it speed up his departure? Yes, I think it will. I just talked about that. Thank you, Daniel, for your question. Jewel of the Tarot, hello, says, she says, many have seen the downfall of DeSantis and Trump not making it to the actual election, meaning, November of next year. Her question is, will either of them win the primary? And if they don't make it that far, who do I see running against Biden? That's such a great question. I don't see DeSantis. He like trips and falls down and face plants in the mud. That's, I think, this year. And then Trump is hiding out from the boogeyman or the bad men or whoever, or the shadow people or the hat people. I don't know who he's hanging out. He's hiding from somebody. So he's really scared, to be honest with you. He's not blowing bluster anymore. He's shivering in a fetal position over in the corner. So I don't know what's going on with him. I wouldn't want to be him right now or ever. So that leaves, who do I see running against Biden? Well, I can see Mitt Romney stepping up again, throwing his hat in the ring again. I can actually see MTG throwing her hat in the ring. I know that's laughable. It doesn't matter who runs against Biden. They're not going to win. Who is that? There could be somebody that comes out of nowhere right. So they might find an African-American man or woman to run against Biden. That guy, there's a few in the Republican Party, like what, 3? So they might find somebody to run against Biden. That would be, right now, as I go into the energy of the Republican Party, that's who they would like to run. Again, they just want to confuse the issue, right? And not be the party that's racist, right? They're always trying to find one minority to represent, to stand up there, and they can all say we're not racist, which is just the biggest bunch of BS you've ever heard in your life. This question has been asked several times by many of you guys. The question is about the no label party. When I first read about the no label party, there's a lot of energy around it. It is a spoiler. It is not a no label party. It is a Republican dark money party. But what I think when I go into it is the no labels ticket is actually going to appeal more to Republicans. The Republicans are the ones who are really tired of it. Now, some of the moderates, some of the independents might be persuaded to go to the no label. But the other good thing that I see is the Democrats are now, with this infusion of Gen Z energy, they're now understanding how to do proper messaging. They're understanding that they need to be on TikTok. They need to be on YouTube. They need to be on Instagram, Twitter. They need to be everywhere. Everywhere. They need to be in those gamer chat rooms. They need to be where Gen Z is, right? Wherever that is. So I feel like the no labels is not going to make a dent, but I do want to say that it is energy that we need to pay attention to. Okay, I'm not saying it's nothing to worry about, but I am saying that I think we're going to handle them this year and next year. But it is something that I think we need to really pay attention to in the midterms in 26 and in the next presidential election in 28, because that's where the energy is. Again, it's also creating this, it's sort of like the shell game, right? Where is the dark money? You know what I mean? And who is a Republican? Who is a Democrat? It's all about our discernment. We have to get better about discerning who these people are. That also means we have to demand that background checks are done on these candidates, that really and truly deep dives into their finances are done on these candidates. We really need to know who they are. We need to demand that our party do that. And we need to demand and support investigative journalists that are willing to do these deep dives, because we all know that CNN's not going to do it. Now CBS has gone in, Fox is crazy. We know that the news is not going to feed us the real deal. Most of them been bought out. So if you have, or if you don't, find one, an investigative journalist that you follow on a podcast or on YouTube or on Twitter or wherever, support them, because you are their paycheck now. We are going to support these people if we want to get the information that we need. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, Jewel of Tarot. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the people that posted their questions. I really appreciate that. There will be a part 2. Just hang on. It's coming. I may have videoed this entire video in the same outfit at the same time in a marathon session, but I will break them into 2 parts and post one today and the other one in another few days, just to give you guys time to have a chance to watch the first one. So watch for 1 and number 2. And thanks again for watching, and take really, really good care of yourself. Okay. We'll see you again soon right here on this channel. For entertainment purposes only.